Hello everyone, I'm Alex Russo and I'm a science fiction and fantasy author. This is the second installment in a series on how to create sci-fi spacecraft. In the first video in this series, I mentioned that I only covered spacecraft briefly. This presentation will discuss weapons for starships and interstellar warfare. The topics will be which ships would have weapons, the types of weapons a starship would carry, shielding and armor, and how interstellar warfare could work. So, some starships may have weapons while others do not, the same way some ships on Earth have weapons and others don't. Some starships that are ensured to have weapons are warships, starfighters, and military drone ships. However, some ships that may not have weapons could be commercial starliners, pleasure yachts, and freighters. However, there could be exceptions to these. For example, a freighter that frequently carries precious resources between planets may have a weapons magazine, or a pleasure yacht could have a few rail guns to protect itself against potential attackers. Keep in mind, I'm only talking about external defenses for a ship, as it is likely every ship would have a locker or armory with weapons for the crew and passengers to use. For weapons, I have broken them down into two main categories, energy and kinetic. Starting off with energy, we have ray weapons like lasers and microwave lasers, also known as masers, that can cut through objects. While the only time I have seen this weapon personally was in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, an electromagnetic pulse, or EMP, could wreak havoc on a starship or starfleet. Hydrons are another energy weapon, because if a ship has a particle accelerator modified to serve as a weapon by firing hydrons at its target, the molecules that are accelerated will pierce the armor of the enemy vessel near light speed. Ion and electron beams are the final one for energy. Beams of ions and electrons have a charge to them, so they will potentially carry a reduced effect of an EMP that is localized to a certain section of the starship. For kinetic weapons, we have a couple different options that could work. Railguns are basically technologically advanced cannons that fire a magnetic object like metal, ions, or plasma at a target using a series of electromagnets instead of using a projectile with a propellant. The other option for kinetic weapons are missiles and torpedoes, which would be rocket-like devices that carry an explosive substance. Because starships would have stronger armor than terrestrial and aquatic vehicles, it is likely the substances or explosives in the missiles and torpedoes would be plasma-based, weapons-grade fissile material, or a system to annihilate matter with antimatter, all of which would cause immense damage to the target starship. While bombs and mines are also weapons to consider, they may be impractical for space because they could drift away from their intended target. So, for shielding, there are three options. The first would be plasma, as it could be circulated around the ship by electromagnets within the hull and could dissolve any incoming materials. Heat is another option. While the heat generated by the fusion reactors and the crew is unlikely to repel an object in space, it would realize its full potential as a shield in nebulae and atmospheres due to movements of excited gas. Magnets are another option, as they could repel a metal projectile like a slug from a railgun or the plating of a missile. Armor is the last effort of the ship's hull to resist an attack. I cannot remember where I got the inspiration for this diagram from, but this is one possible type of armor. The armor would consist of a thick exterior hull lining, possibly coated in a material that could resist an EMP. After that would be a gel layer or substance that could patch the hull and slow any incoming projectiles. After that could be a gap between the gel and the interior hull lining, which could house a mirror that reflected laser light. The interior hull lining would be the last barrier between the ship's insides and the outside environment. This armor setup doesn't have to be that thick either. The whole module could be only a meter or two thick. There are a few ways that an interstellar battle could go down. If I'm missing any, you can type it in the comments below. Because space is vast and perilous, it is unlikely that a ship could endure multiple shots and still operate before returning to dry dock for repairs like ships at sea. Instead, space warfare will likely be swift and benefit only the attacker. Complete annihilation is along the lines of Cixin Liu's Dark Forest theory, as it involves the attacker destroying the target completely. The battle sequence I have termed Stun is an attack that seeks to maim the ship's shields and weapons magazines, though it still leaves the crew of the attacked ship alive for repairs. What I termed as a zap and grab would be a starship attacking another to take something of value from the target ship, such as fuel or cargo. Commandeering a starship involves a ship on offense taking over a target starship for its own purposes. The last two methods would prove effective for space pirates, rebels, or a species new to interstellar space if they needed to grow their fleets and did not have the resources to build their own within their star space. And that is all I have for today. Thank you for watching and good luck on your project.